Hey guys, welcome back to Wheel Work. I trust you're doing well as always. So on today's episode, we're going to be doing another modification on Stez, the Fortuner. I believe that this is a very, very important modification, something that every four-wheel drive should have done, something that is quite essential, not just for four-wheel drives, but any vehicle in particular, and that is to put a big stereo in it. Of course I'm being sarcastic. So to do this though, a very good friend of mine has recently started up his own car audio and multimedia workshop, and he's offered to give me a hand to do it. So main components have come out of my Commodore wagon, which weren't that old, so they're going in. So we're going to head over to his workshop to do that. Problem is, his workshop's 3.5 hours drive away. Joys of living out in the country. So we're going to chew up some miles, already on the road as you can see, and we're going to go down there and get stuck into it. Alright guys, so we have arrived. Pretty easy drive down here this morning. Down here at Suburban Sounds in Pakenham, Victoria. Sorry about all of the road noise of all the trucks going past, by the way. This shop is owned by a good mate of mine by the name of Steve, which you'll see in this video. Steve and I have been mates for about 10 or 15 years. So yeah, we'll get the car inside and we'll give you a bit of a rundown of what we're doing. This is what we have going into the car. So got two 12-inch Alpine subs. They actually came out of my Commodore wagon. If you go back to previous videos, you would have seen them. As is the Hertz amplifier. It's a 5-channel amplifier that was also in my Commodore wagon, that was running these subs as well as the door speakers I had in the Commodore. So that's going to be transferred into this car. But we are fitting new door speakers. So we've got a pair of Alpine Type R 6.5-inch coaxials for the rear doors, and Alpine Type R 6.5-inch splits for the front. And we're also going to put a Hertz sub control on the dash as well. So we've got full sub control. This is all going to be run through the factory head unit, so we're going to make it all work through the factory stereo. I know some people do upgrade the factory stereos, but I'm fairly happy with it for now, and if I choose to upgrade it down the track, that can easily be done. So yeah, we'll start pulling it apart and we'll get into it. By taking the door trims off. They're super simple to remove. I just thought I will show you how to remove a door trim by doing this one here, and just show you how easy they are. Alrighty, so grab handle part just pulls up, unclips. There's two Phillips head screws in behind there. Simple as that. Then the electric mirror window comes off, unplug the plug. In behind the door handle here, pop that little trim forward. There's another screw in behind there. Simple as that. This little piece up here in the corner, it's got the Fortuner badge on it. That just comes off. Grab the door at the bottom, the trim, unclip it, pull it forward. And then in behind there, there's your two cables that just unclip for your door handle. One for the handle, one for the lock. Just like that. A back speaker comparison. Here's a factory speaker, and here's what's going in. Quite a lot beefier. The factory speakers are just riveted into the back doors. Well, all the speakers are riveted into the doors, so you just drill out the rivets. We've got this cool product here by AirPro that just sort of goes in, replaces the same design as the factory speaker, and then your aftermarket speaker screws in. Door tweeters, they are the ones that came out of the factory locations. Steve has already gone ahead and fitted the Type R ones in there. Got a little bit of body deadener on the back of it there. So it'll all look factory. Good job, Steve. That's Steve, mate. Everyone. Steve, internet, Steve. Back door speakers are done. So these brackets are really handy because you can just feed out a wire through that hole that they've got in the bracket there. Bring it out and wire it into the factory wiring there. All uses the factory holes in the door, so no drilling or anything like that is required. We have just soldered in behind the plug. The plug is wrapped up inside there, so if you ever want to convert it back, the plug is still there, and a little bit of foam tape on the plug to stop any rattles. So we are using the factory speaker wire to run these speakers. We're going to intercept into that wire behind the head unit. Speakers like this, more than adequate enough. The factory wiring is more than adequate enough to run an amplified speaker like this. If you were running a super high-end speaker that drew a lot of power, then yes, you would upgrade it, but for our application this is fine, and also makes the install a bit easier, not having to run new cable into the doors and all that stuff. So we'll chuck the back door trims back on, and then we'll finish off the front doors. Steve's already gone ahead and widened the front tweeters, so we've just got to get the front speakers out, change them over, and yeah, we'll keep going. A comparison of the front speakers. So the front speakers are actually, the door speakers are exactly the same as the rear door speakers. These are the Type R woofers for the splits that's going in. So it's actually got, that's called a choke coil that cuts out the majority of the treble that goes to the woofer. So that's that. And then it's got a crossover that wires in for the tweeter, which is that guy there, which goes up to the Type R tweeter, which we've already fitted into these Delta trims. That's called a Delta trim. So yeah, we'll finish getting the front doors together and see how it sounds with just the speakers done. All right, woofers and the front doors are done, sort of same deal. We've taped up the plug, the factory plug is still in there, back soldered, put some foam tape on it to stop rattles, same story. We've just got the tweeters sort of hanging there for now till we put the door trim back on. So yeah, we'll get the front doors back together, and that's all the speakers done. Smashing through it, front doors are back together. We've had a bit of a listen and it is already a massive improvement. We've pulled the front seat out. Steve's smashing into it, pulling the head unit out. We're going to mount the amp right here. There is a duct that normally goes there to blow air at the feet of the backseat passengers, which we've removed. So the amp's just going to sort of mount under here, under the seat. So yeah, an update. So head unit is all out. That is the old wiring that goes to all of the speakers there. That goes into a plug that plugs into the back of the head unit. So what we're doing is Steve is modified that plug that goes in the back of the head unit, which then the other end of it will plug into this doobie wacky, which is a line converter. So that plugs into the head unit, goes into there, converts the RCA. So then we'll run some RCAs down to the amp. So we're actually going to run 3 RCAs, even though we're only going to use 2 sets. We're going to run 3 because if I do end up upgrading the head unit down the track, which I sort of plan to do, we'll have the other RCA sitting at the back of the head unit. So that's why we're doing it that way. Power cable is run. We've got an earth cable run. Power cable is sort of just hanging out near the battery, ready to be connected. Goes down there to a fuse holder, and that's all conduit and cable tied up. Makes it look all nice and stock. All right, making progress. So head unit's all back in, line converter's in. Looks like that hasn't even been touched, which is awesome. We've got the sub control knob mounted down here to control the subs. I've popped these 2 blanks out because in the next video I've got stuff going into those holes. So we'll get to that. I just figured I'll pop them out while I'm there. So then we've got the RCAs and the speaker wire and the trigger wire and the sub control wire all going down through there, under the carpet, sort of down to the side of that, underneath this little channel where the seat bolts to, through there, and it's coming out the carpet. So that's the vent that we removed. I've just sort of blocked that off with a bit of tape, just so air isn't blowing on nothing, essentially. So yeah, so we'll get all this all back together now. We'll tidy up this, and we'll start mounting the amp. Cool, dash is all back together. Beautiful. Got all the trims, the glove box back on, sills back on, under tray under there's back on. So now it's just a matter of tidying up that, and we've run a cable to the back for the subs as well, but we do need to do a little modification to the sub box. As this section drops down here, the sub box actually comes up to about here, so we're just going to make a little platform for there for the back half of the sub box to sit on. Just like that, it's all done in here with the exception of putting the seat back in. So we've felt taped all of the loom, make it all nice and neat. We've actually just velcroed the amp to the carpet. I didn't want to go screwing the amp down to the floor, didn't want to make any extra holes or anything like that. But she's not going anywhere. We've given the thing a tune. It sounds amazing. We've just got the subs. The sub box is sitting in the back of the car for now, just so we could tune it all up, and I'm very impressed with how it sounds. It sounds a lot better than it did in my old car. So I'll go ahead now and put that seat back in, and then we're going to make up a bit of a platform in the back of the car for that sub box to make that sit level. So the plan is to just sort of make something up that sits in the back there to sort of build it up a bit. So we'll get that done. Alright, so this is what Steve's come up with. Bit of a secondary spoiler to go on top of the other spoiler if all else fails. So with a bit of luck, just like that, that'll sit in there. We'll throw some carpet on it and that levels it all out, and we can use underneath the center of it for a bit of storage. Alright, so that's how that's turned out. Got a little bit of Velcro underneath the bottom of it here. Stop it sliding around. Beautiful. And just like that, it's all done. Job completely finished. Now I know you're probably wondering how it sounds, and I will show you how it sounds, but keep in mind it's recorded from my phone, so I can guarantee you it's not going to sound great, and it's going to sound like it has pretty much no bass, and it's going to be no representation whatsoever of how it sounds in real life. But here we go. There you have it, guys. It's another mod done on the car, so really happy with how that turned out. I'm a massive lover of music, in case you didn't realize by the fact that I did this to my car as one of the first mods. Probably extremely unnecessary to most of you, but for me it's something that I really wanted to do. But as always, thanks always for watching, guys. A massive thank you to Steve here at Suburban Sounds in Pakenham. If you do live in the Melbourne district of Victoria and you need anything done, cannot recommend him enough. Absolute ripper of a bloke, and he will 100% look after you. So yeah, thanks always, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Take it easy and stay safe.